What does it take to be a happy person? Well, I'm going to give you two elements of happiness today. And I'll tell you up front, happiness is not the absence of suffering in your life, but it's the presence of certain qualities that you need to be happy. I'm going to tell you about two. The first is true optimism. Now, there's a difference between true optimism and false optimism. True optimism is looking for the good in your circumstances. False optimism is based on fear. False optimism is believing that things are going to work out fine no matter what. True optimism says, I don't know how things are going to work out, and so I'm going to look for the good in my circumstances. The second thing you need to really live a happy life is gratitude. True gratitude is being able to find something to be grateful for in the midst of your circumstances, which might be terrible circumstances. I am not grateful for all the circumstances in my life because some of them are really bad. But I really look for something to be grateful for in the midst of all my circumstances, because that is what helps me be a happier person. Let me give you an example of that. I asked Dr. Fred Luskin to give a lecture on his work in the Forgiveness Project. He's the director of the Stanford Forgiveness Project, which is the largest forgiveness project in the world, studying how people can learn to forgive. And he told us a story about a woman who had been brutally abused and had her child murdered. And she was supposed to somehow figure out how to forgive people who had done this to her. Dr. Luskin realized that she first needed to learn gratitude before she could approach forgiveness because her circumstances were so terrible. So he let her tell her story, and she told it until she couldn't talk about it any further in horrible circumstances. And then he got her to stand up and walk over and go towards the window because it was a cold day in San Francisco. And she felt just the sun on her face. And she was able in that moment to be grateful for that one simple thing. And that beginning of gratitude was the beginning of her ability to restore the faith that maybe someday she could forgive. If she could be grateful for that one thing, then maybe she could be grateful for other things. And this is what we've learned, that you have to have the capacity to find things to be grateful for in the midst of terrible circumstances in order for you to move towards happiness in life. Happiness is not the absence of suffering in your life. Happiness is the ability to find the presence of true optimism and gratitude in it.